Good evening and welcome to Newsroom on Kings 88.5 with me, Sam Andrews. Today is Tuesday, December 10th. The top stories. The justice in Chima, Yamin Bessie declines the rate of certiorari requested by state prosecutor in the case of former Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Toy and others. President Walker expresses concern over long-running dispute in the House of Representatives, says it is having a negative impact on the government and the country. The United Nations coordinator in Liberia encourages Liberian government to develop policies that will reflect national commitment to the 2030 agenda. And away from Liberia, Zambia's top court has barred former President Ego Lungu from standing for re-election in 2026. These are the top stories. Let's have the news bulletin. The justice in chambers, Yamin Gwese, has declined to issue a writ of certiorari requested by state prosecutor in the case of former Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Toy and others. The justice in chamber recently placed a temporary stay order on the case until a conference scheduled for December 10th in the chambers of the Supreme Court is held. According to our judicial correspondent, the justice in chamber is expected to direct the lower court judge to proceed with the case. The correspondent also mentioned that it is unclear whether the state will appeal to the full bench of the Supreme Court. The conference was held in the Justice Chamber, where state prosecutors argued that the surety bond filed by the ex officio property bond is insufficient to represent them. President Joseph Walker on Tuesday held a meeting with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Onati Kofa, on the chaos, which has divided the House into two factions fighting for supremacy. President Walker expressed concern about the long running dispute at the House of Representatives and how it can be resolved, which is having a negative impact on the government and country. Though President Walker in the meeting did not tell the Speaker to resign, but urged him to work with his colleagues in settling the confusion for peace and stability to reign in the country. At the same time, the Executive Protection Service Director Sam Gay used the occasion to plead with Speaker Kofa to step down from what he referred to as contentious situation. But the Speaker restated his position of not resigning from the speakership. According to Speaker Funati Kofa, his colleagues must abide by the Supreme Court's ruling while expressing his readiness for a due process as required by the Liberian Constitution and the House rules. He said the LNP can withdraw their security details if they wish, but he remains resolute in his stance of not resigning as Speaker of the House of Representatives. The United Nations resident coordinator in Liberia, Christine Yumutoni, has encouraged the government to develop policies that will reflect national commitment to the 2030 agenda and focus on sustainable development goals. Speaking at the high-level strategic policy dialogue between the Liberian government and the United Nations, convened at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex in Monrovia, Madam Yumutoni stressed the global goals provide a comprehensive framework that transcends individual sectors and breaks storage tower, helping to take an integrated approach to development, a future where no one is left behind. She added that the path to achieving the 2030 agenda has been hindered by intersecting crises, including climate change and geopolitical instability. The dialogue convened critical decision makers from the government and the United Nations system to ensure effective deliberation of the arrest agenda for inclusive development, among other things. design how the United Nations Strategic Development Cooperation Framework 2026 and 2030 will be aligned with the arrest agenda for inclusive development. The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection Monday led a team of social workers aimed at taking necessary actions to remove children from the street. Speaking to journalists in Monrovia, Gwamin Colley disclosed that the government is focused and concerned about street children, emphasizing that it is important to remove children from the street. She added that the ministry has trained social workers who are currently working in communities and on the streets, stressing that workers of the ministry have been equipped with effective communication skills to effectively execute their duty. Minister Gwemin disclosed that 4 zones have been identified for the initiative, and each zone has a specific community to focus on, noting that social workers will be responsible for finding and identifying the parents of those children in each zone and taking necessary steps to remove them from the streets. Bonn County District 5 Representative Eugene Colley has expressed his disappointment with the fiscal 2025 budget hearing headed by the majority bloc, led by its elected Speaker, Richard Cohn. Speaking to reporters on the at the main chambers of the majority bloc in Monrovia, Representative College said the move by his colleagues to conduct the hearing in the office of the Deputy Speaker is unacceptable and goes against the rules of the country. He emphasized that this is the first time in Liberia's history that such a hearing has been held without the presence of the minority bloc. According to Representative Colley, the intention of the majority bloc is to undermine the trust of the country. And as a result, the minority bloc has decided to boycott the hearing. He denounced the majority bloc led by Richard Cohn for holding the hearing without considering the views of other representatives. He revealed that the minority bloc will reach out to donors, urging them not to participate in the budget hearing or provide any funding, stating that the action of the majority bloc are unlawful and must not be tolerated. The inspection team of Liberian Medicine and Health Product Regulatory Authority has discovered a business center in Monrovia that is actively engaged in selling used imported pampers to the Liberian people. Speaking with reporters at the store on Front Street Tuesday, the Inspector General of LMHRA, Budu Wahid, said the institution decided to do an investigation and a thorough inspection process after they saw information on social media relating to the sale of imported used pampers in the country. He added that the owners of the store insulted them and acted unprofessional after they were engaged by inspectors of LMHRA regarding the situation, noting that the pampers are not safe for public consumption. Mr. Bodie said the institution has informed the court to present a search and seizure warrant so as to close the store to avoid health hazard. The Liberian government, that's the Ministry of Justice, has endorsed the controversial proceedings of the self-imposed majority bloc in the 55th House of Representatives, which has been accused of conducting business outside legal bounds. On December 6, the Supreme Court ruled in the case concerning the unlawful removal and suspension of members, emphasizing that the due process was not followed. The court's ruling noted that both sides in the House of Representatives violated Article 33 and 49 of the Constitution, rendering their actions of ultra vires. The High Court ordered both parties to resolve the dispute in accordance with constitutional requirements as stipulated in Article 33 and 49. Following the High Court's ruling, several legal experts, including prominent lawyer Chancellor Tiawan Ganglo, expressed strong objections. Chancellor Ganglo described the ruling as flawed and vowed to file an amicus curiae brief to the court. He argued that the court's decision should uphold the supremacy of the law over politics and affirm its jurisdiction in all matters under the Constitution. However, Justice Minister Chancellor Oswald Twe issued a legal opinion Tuesday addressing the recent ruling of the Supreme Court and its implications for negative actions, including the approval of the 2025 budget. And away from Liberia, Zambia's top court has barred former President Edgar Lungu from standing for re-election in 2026. The Constitutional Court ruled that the 68-year-old politician had already served the maximum 2 terms allowed by the country's law. Lungu was elected president in January 2015 to serve the remaining 20 months of his predecessor's term. President Marcus Sata died in office in October 2014. Lungu had argued that this should not count as he did not serve a full 5-year term, but the court disagreed, reversing previous rulings that had cleared him to run 3 years ago when he lost to Hankadi Hachilima. Let's review the voices of the newspapers. Broom County District 5 Representative Eugene Colley has expressed his disappointment with the fiscal year 2025 draft budget hearing headed by the majority bloc. Speaking to reporters on the main chambers of the majority bloc in Morovia, Colley stated that the move by the majority bloc to conduct the hearing in the office of the deputy speaker is unacceptable and goes against the rules of the country. According to him, the intention of the majority bloc is to undermine the trust of the nation, and as a result, the minority bloc has decided to boycott the budget hearing.
Most Nigerians have decided at this time a whole group of lawmakers who have gained themselves to go against the speaker, going against the rule of law of this republic. We want to say that it is wrong. And today, we think, of course, based on many things that the international community now has decided to come with it. So we thought that, look, maybe we have to beat it down with the community so that they can the question is, we're going to have a press conference to inform the world, to inform the community, that West Indian are here, and you will have a budget hearing, in the office of the deputy speaker. This is a lawless fight. This is something that is meant to build the trust of this nation. So based on that, we as lawmakers for the top people block have decided to stay away from the process. And then we want to say what next? As I said to you, we were writing the donors so that they would not participate in this budget issue, that they would not in any point because the actions of our colleagues are not wrong. I find that you have to sit in the office of the deputy speaker to carry on body you have ministers coming to listen or they coming for body discussion. It's wrong. Not in the world. You have police beating on lawmakers, your police beating yesterday.
Representative Eugene Colley. Monserrato County District 10 Representative Yeke Kolba has called on President Walker to take his majority lawmakers to RLJ Hotel for the budget hearing. Speaking at the Capitol building, Yeke disclosed that the interference of the executive into legislative matter is a disgrace of the Constitution and the Liberian people.
Who have been waiting for the Supreme Court to rule, the time have come, and the Supreme Court have given a verdict, and the verdict will be respected. This is our ground. Ain't Joseph Bogas and a political issue. Let him get people, let him go destroy the political issue here. My man, when I try to read, the Supreme Court will stay, the Supreme Court will say what it said. Yeah? The way I understand it, how we enforce it. Say about him at the law here, and Joseph Boga keeping him more better to RLJ and bringing them when he feel like. Any more man, I'm speaking. You want to speak for me? I can jump in my English as spoke. You understand? Or I'm speaking. I am saying any moped have been controlled by Joseph Boga that will go be leaving to RLJ and be coming here. Go and pass the budget to RLJ. Tell your people any place I work, right? Let them come. Let them come. When they come here, we'll all be here. Any minister come here interfere with another branch of government issue. You will see that it's obvious for the citizen to be disappointed. I would be having the lawmakers. We made a law. I will respecting the laws. Just they feel they poor in my district. The Supreme Court ruled that the person should be evicted. They're bossing their horses. Why come on a peaceful citizen will respect the law? We call ourselves lawmakers. We can respect the law. Are we above the law? We're waiting for people that call themselves budget hearing people. Let them come.
District 10 Representative Yeke Kolba. The Minister of Gender, Children, and Social Protection, Broom Colley, Monday led a team of social workers aimed at taking the necessary actions to remove children from the street. Speaking to journalists in Monrovia, Minister Colley said the government is focused and concerned about street children, emphasizing that it is important to have them removed from the streets.
This and before the few months, we all know that the situation of the next generation being in the streets is alarming for this government that the government of Nigeria, under the leadership of His Excellency, is very concerned. Every time he wants to move, is the issue of gender and the kids, people with disabilities in the streets. And so talking to our partners and then issue of gender before we can and based on efforts in that direction to understand why behind children on the streets, wanting to know, how many of them. So it's something we have in our possession. We call roadmap street children or children in street situations. So that document informs us on the model situations that claim the attention of our government. And so, whatever the success of this initiative, we also want to make it clear that the social workers who see today doing the communities and along the streets, we just didn't pick them and brought them here. They were trained. They are given the language and the messages to speak and communicate very well. And I personally express confidence in their ability to do the work that we all have to do. And so this morning, I just want to encourage as we go. I think my understanding is that there are areas, different zones. We have the city divided into different areas. We have 4 zones, and each of these zones have communities to focus on. Some of the communities may not have kids on the streets between the moment. My understanding is we will go into the communities and begin to bring more awareness. And some of the areas that do have kids, the social workers assigned there will be dealing with children. They go and follow through, find the parents, go who they are.
Gender, Children, and Social Protection Minister, Broom Colley. The inspection team of the Liberia Medicine and Health Product Regulatory Authority has discovered a business center in Monrovia, it said, that is actively engaged in selling used imported pampers. Speaking with journalists at the store on Front Street Tuesday, the Inspector General of LMHRA, Bodhi Wagi, said the institution decided to do an investigation and a thorough inspection process after they saw information on social media relating to the sale of imported used pampers in the country.
It was sometime last week. We saw a Facebook page that people are bringing used papers into the country and they are selling it to the Liberian. So we decided to do some inspection to see how best we can locate the particular area. And yesterday we found a place and the people like the place they went. So today we decided to come back and see how best we can get in touch with the owner and the person who's selling it. How we can to this place. Firstly, the owner, they are very hostile. We came here and they refused to talk to us. It is like insulting us. So we decided not to talk to anybody. So we called other people to become witnesses to see what is going on in Liberia. That's why we call the press to see how best we can do the joint investigation. The first thing is, as a doctor, this paper is not safe for human use. You can look and see that these are products that were used from other countries. We don't know exactly where the paper is coming from. So we cannot stay here as a regulator and we see this harmful substance is being distributed on the Liberian market that will cause health hazard for our babies. We don't know them because if you look on the book, there's no need for the particular business center. We even try to speak to one or two persons. They don't want to talk to us. So we decided to call a court to bring a search and seizure warrant to see how best we can close the place.
The acting executive director of Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, James Kingsley, has termed greed and weak systems within government institutions as the major factors of corruption. And Kingsley said greed is the root cause of corruption in Liberia, noting that too many people in positions are focused on their personal gain rather than considering the impact of their actions on others.
Corruption is as a result of greed. You want too much and you are inconsiderate of other people. That is the bedrock of corruption. That is the origin of corruption. People are greedy and they cannot manage their greed. And in getting what they want to get, they end up victimizing other people. Take, for example, if drug was sent to JFK, CEO of JFK took the drugs and sold it and got thousands of dollars that she's able to take a vacation anywhere in the world, be a decent house. But at the same time, people go to JFK and die because there is no drugs at JFK. So what has happened? For her personal convenience or for his personal convenience, thousands of Liberians are dying because we cannot offer FPS, adequate FPS services to our people. So it's greed. Greed is responsible for corruption all across the world. The next thing that is responsible for corruption is weak systems. If we have weak internal control, people will prey on the system and they will steal. If you go to almost every government institution, you have a problem of system control. So that is why the government of Liberia recognized this as a problem. That is why the government proceeded to establish the Internal Audit Agency to strengthen internal control in public institutions. And so the Internal Audit Agency has been doing this, but it needs to step up because we have not seen the reduction, the anticipated reduction in public corruption. So there is a need to become very vigorous and vehement in engaging the system to ensure that we reduce public corruption. Because if we don't, it's proportional. There's a correlation between corruption and development. Wherever corruption is high, development struggle or development is stifled. When development is high, so the relationship we see right now, you have more corruption in Liberia and you have less development. The moment we begin to clamp down on corruption, we begin to see the graph will begin to go up in favor of development.
The acting executive director of Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, James Kingsley. The executive chairperson, Ernest Hodges, is urging government officials to declare their assets as a means of promoting transparency and accountability.
to publicly thank the president and the government for their role and their support. So there is a lot going on. And one of the things I just want to stress about the whole asset declaration is more about the whole issue around transparency and accountability. So by people coming out, and declaring what they have and all of that, it's a good way for us as a government to show that we have people in government who really cares about fighting corruption. So it's a very good initiative and it's ongoing. And I just like to, let everybody out there know, please come in. We have till the 12th. Please come in and go ahead. So there's a lot of interagency cooperation at that level. So for example, some of the work that we do is a result of reports that come from RIA and the GSC. So they provide, when they've done the audit and they find instances of susceptibility, they send those reports to a group called the National Integrity Forum, NIF. And again, we collaborate across all of the 15 intergovernment and I think civil societies as well, you call it, agencies. So there's a lot of, so again, I just want to say thank you to Specialized Court. So I think with that coming into force, that will help with the adjudication and so forth and so on. So I think this is something that we take seriously. This is something our partners take seriously. So this is something that is ongoing. And hopefully, by sometime next year, we'll have some favorable news on that. We do have now currently a hotline, and if you have or know of any form of acts of corruption out there, it's LACC or NACC. That is short code 5222 or short code 6222.
The Liberia Research and Development Network Monday display its multi-purpose computer facility, sponsored by partners, aimed at conducting training for young people. Speaking at the network headquarters in Monrovia, the project and facility manager, Gibson Flomut, said the facility runs programs in collaboration with institutions as a means of providing formal education for disadvantaged youth in the country.
Here at this facility, we conduct trainings. Like I said, one of the main programs we run here is under the team SCALE, SCALE, Second Chance Affording a Lasting Empowerment. Under this scheme, we work with the NRBS Records Foundation, which is a local organization that recruits disadvantaged youth, commonly referred to as Zogos, from the street, take them to rehabilitation. And after that process, we also recruit them into the system and conduct our training for them in computer. And the program has been a success. We have graduated over 18 of them, and we are having another graduation pending, which will be our 10th graduation in honor this program. Also, in this facility, we are open to conducting workshops. We are open to conducting transcription, because we also carry on data research, data transcription training here. And as a research organization, there is nothing more we do that is not research oriented. So we want to say this place is open, and we appreciate your partnership.
Meanwhile, for his part, the Deputy Director for Communication at the Liberia Research and Development Network, Samuel Gué, noted that the institution has contributed immensely to the country, saying the recent digital transformation program is a project that the institution is using to help decentralize the education of technology across Liberia.
Thank you on behalf of the Executive Director, Mr. John S. Jr., who is now in the States, Terry Tudesoko, who is the Deputy Director for Administration, our support staff, and police, a partnership that will form in engaging disadvantaged young people to see how best we can help them and impact some nursing. Also want to welcome our honorable men from ARTV who have also come pay us a visit and also come part of the discussion. LRDN, research and developmental oriented institution. We are in the research, we are in the developmental oriented activities. Since our funding, we are very engaged, we are very involved in lots of activities. The most recent one has to do with digital transformation program, which we successfully implemented in partnership with the government of New York. That was implemented in 5 counties of right? In Lima County, for the Sano, Maryland, will also be in Gentile County, where also several implementers the program on behalf of the government. So again, we look forward to support both from the public and the private sector as we move forward. So I want to say thank you very much for coming.
The Deputy Director for Communications at Liberia Research and Development Network, Samuel Guer. On that note, we come to the end of News Broom on Kings 88.5. But a reminder of the top stories before we go. The Justice in Chambers, Yamin Gbese, declines the writ of certiorari requested by state prosecutors in the case involving former Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Toure and others. President Joseph Boakai expresses concern over long-running dispute at the House of Representatives, says it is having a negative impact on the government and country. The United Nations Resident Coordinator in Liberia encourages the government to develop policies that reflect national commitment to the 2030 agenda. Zambia's top court has barred former President Edgar Lungu from standing for re-election in 2016. Join us tomorrow morning at 6 for another news bulletin. Cornelius Johnson produced the sound. I'm Sam Andrews.